Welcome to BFH Highlights. I'm your host, Trevor Coote, and today we're revisiting the incredible journey of Teresa Grobecker. Teresa's story is one of determination, innovation, and the ability to adapt to a rapidly changing business world. From starting a real estate brokerage with a baby on each hip to navigating blockchain technology and building a global vision, this is a story of resilience and purpose. Let's get started. Hi there, I'm Trevor Coote, and this is Business is Fucking Hard, the podcast where business owners pull back the curtain and talk about the realities of owning a business. We'll hear their stories, learn some lessons, and have some fun along the way. Thanks for joining us. Teresa didn't set out to create a groundbreaking business. Like many entrepreneurs, her journey began with a simple question and an unexpected opportunity. Here's how she turned a placeholder hobby into a thriving real estate brokerage.
Yeah, so I started my online real estate brokerage. I think it was the first in San Francisco. I started it as a hobby. I came from Wall Street after business school and decided to make some humans. And while they napped, I was like, I'm going to start a brokerage. And it was just with like a kid on each hip. And I had been doing fix and flip for the family during the Great Recession. And I got my broker's license and I turned to my husband and I said, should I go, I keep getting these recruiting postcards from Coldwell Banker. Should I go work for this guy at Coldwell or should I start my own shop? And my husband just turned to me, looked at me and goes, oh, you're starting your own shop. And so I just kind of stumbled into it. And that's one thing has led to another after all these years. And here we are. So it was purely just a hobby to keep me busy as like a placeholder to have grown up skills until my kids were in school or graduated from high school. I don't know, but it's turned into this.
What started as a personal challenge became a launch pad for Teresa's future endeavors. Teresa quickly realized that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Managing people, dealing with legal responsibilities, and feeling isolated are just a few of the hurdles she had to overcome.
So within the first 3 months, I had 25 people working for me, as independent contractors, as real estate brokers. And I was learning real quickly, the broker always holds that proverbial bag of poop. It always rolls uphill the legal liability of anybody out there saying whatever they want to consumers. And it's on me to make sure the paperwork is tight. They have to do their, I have to create protocols. They have to follow them. Everything has to be indexed properly. And then at dinner, I'm sitting across from this guy who he's like a compliance person in Wall Street, right? He was a managing director at one point covering half the United States. And all dinner ever was is that the correct thing for the client? Consumer suitability, right? Client suitability. And that's a big thing on Wall Street. It's a really big deal. So I think the panic attacks first came how do I manage this many people? And then within at the first year marker, fast forward one spring forward, it was the spring of 2014 or so. I was how do I recruit more people? How do I create a compensation plan? And that was because I was working, to answer your question, at home alone. I recruited everyone who's worked for me off of Craigslist, right? There are people who have worked for me for over a decade I've never physically met. I get it that there are business models out there that recruit people online all the time, but this didn't exist back then, or was barely starting up, right? With some of these online.
When would this have been, Teresa? Sorry.
Yeah, I think getting my broker's license in May of 2012, except agents to come work for me in 2013. And by 2014, I'm realizing I am so alone. I don't realize at this point that brokers all over the country, in Canada, the United States, I don't realize that there are other brokers who are having these thoughts too. I didn't realize that there was a larger ecosystem. So yeah, I felt all alone, and that part was hard. That was probably the most difficult part of getting this going.
Her honesty about the loneliness of leadership is a powerful reminder that every entrepreneur faces moments of doubt. But Teresa's story also offers a solution, building a support network beyond the local community. Teresa's willingness to step into the unknown didn't stop at real estate. She entered the world of blockchain, a space filled with promise, but also immense challenges. Listen to how she balanced skepticism with opportunity.
This is like to the heart of it. I actually hate blockchain.
Okay, let's unpack it. Be very honest with me, because I think this is the part of the story, especially that comparison, that's going to be super interesting.
Okay, all right. If we're okay with this, I
Absolutely.
could put blockchain in a dumpster. I will bring the fireworks, the gasoline, the matches. I will get a throw torch and just burn it. I hate blockchain. There was a point being in the NAR portfolio where I was like, what am I going to talk about at this conference? And Jeff Turner looks at me like, hey, dipshit, this is the only thing you're talking about for the rest of your life. We're talking about it right now, right? So, and I'm like, so I think that blockchain is a lot of noise, especially in its application, especially in the United States, because our land records there are errors, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Where I see blockchain as useful, I've been approached by the Ukraine, right? Where land records are getting destroyed right now, as you can imagine, right? There's going to be a massive literal land grab. There are countries in Africa and in the Pacific Basin where land records, not even who owns it, but who has rights to use the land for the rest of their life because of certain government contracts, kind of like if you think about Hong Kong and China. So there are all these use cases for blockchain and having a ledger. So that's where I find it useful. For me to talk about it in front of people who run MLSs and county recorder's office, I'm just blow my brains out. This is the biggest waste of time. So consortia now, finally, I get to make the decision that I've always wanted. We're going to take the code set that we have today, take out some parts that are only applicable in the United States, and then set part of that free on GitHub. And then what I want to do is to make it interconnected with ordinals. That's the term for an NFT on Bitcoin, or to make it Ethereum compatible so that any country, any municipality, think of the Ukraine, think of all the countries I named, that they could take down that code set, deploy it on their servers. Consortia, as a business owner, I don't need to be controlling that for other countries, right? To be fully distributed blockchain, which is the ethos of it, it needs to be interoperable and people need to be able to share data openly. So that's where the company is today.
Despite her reservations, Teresa leveraged her expertise to build solutions with global impact. Her approach demonstrates the importance of purpose-driven leadership in navigating new frontiers. Throughout her journey, Teresa's resilience and sense of purpose kept her moving forward, even during the toughest times. Here's her advice for anyone feeling overwhelmed by the weight of leadership. What's your kind of motivational speech to somebody in that position where they're trying to put purpose above profit?
I'd say listen to that. When you're calm and your gut is calm, that deep breath, that meditation, and the thing that's in your brain at the time that your stomach is at peace, listen to that and lean into that. And if people around you don't believe in that vision, they got to go. There's the door. Nothing's keeping you here. And that's what I should have done time and time again. And eventually those people burn off the cap chart pretty easily, because if you just stick to your guns, it's going to come out their true intention.
Right.
I'm dealing with the aftermath of one of those right now. So stick with that, see how much pain you can tolerate, right? But if that's your goal, then that's very admirable, and the world needs more of that, and stick with it.
In a world driven by profits, Teresa emphasizes the power of staying true to your mission. It's not always easy, but as she's shown, it's worth it. Teresa's story is a testament to the power of resilience, adaptability, and staying true to your purpose. From turning challenges into opportunities to making a difference on a global scale, her journey inspires us to lead with intention and integrity. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Join us next time on BFH Highlights, where we'll continue exploring the highs and lows of business. Thanks for joining us.